Hi, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of our new series, Mastering AI with the Experts. In this series, we'll dive deep into the world of AI, exploring its past, present, and future with top experts across various fields. I'm thrilled to kick things off today with our first guest, Matthew Mead from Microsoft, who will be sharing insight on AI in cell business applications. Matthew, thank you so much for joining us. To start, could you please introduce yourself and tell us about your role at Microsoft?
Absolutely. Thanks, Sam, and thanks for having me on your channel here. So my name is Matt Mead. I'm a global black belt technical specialist. So I'm within the business applications team of Microsoft. I report into the US, and really my role is to help customers globally who are working with Copilot business applications and really trying to figure out this technology and overcome the challenges they may face as they go down this path. So looking forward to the conversation.
Awesome. Looks like a really exciting role. Now, if you could sum up in 60 seconds, like what's are the value and the benefits for the business for using AI in their sales business application, how will you explain that?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think you need a reason to want to use this and adopt this technology because it is a change to how people work and their process. But really, the drivers is the obvious one is around productivity. So saving time and being more efficient in your role. So hopefully, you get to spend more time and say in front of customers and doing your prospecting and things like that to actually help drive revenue. But it can also extend into things too around, the time it takes to resolve issues, bringing down the time it takes to resolve cases and work with customers. But it can also lead to things like top line revenue growth as well, being able to be more efficient, effective, and grow revenue and save costs.
Awesome. Now, we've heard about Copilot. We all know, I think, at this point that at Microsoft we had a lot of different Copilot. And I heard about Copilot in sales and Copilot for sales. So, can you explain the difference between both?
Absolutely. It's a little bit confusing, right? But Copilot for Sales is really focused on productivity tools. So think Outlook, Teams, Word. We're going to have OneNote in the future. So all of those peripheral Office applications that people know and love that are using, that's where we're bringing Copilot for Sales connected to your system of record like Salesforce or Dynamics into their place of doing business and getting things done. Copilot in sales is really focused on our Dynamics 365 first party Copilot experience. So when I open up the Dynamics application, I have a sidecar experience where I can ask questions and get information. And we also have an immersive experience as well where I get more dashboarding and visualizations and Q&A as well. So that's very much tethered to inside the Dynamics application, whereas Copilot for Sales is outside in the Microsoft applications.
Awesome. Okay. So, are you seeing a lot of customer using both, or is it really two different SKUs that work as standalones? How does it work?
Yeah, it's a great question. I really do see a mix. A lot of our existing Dynamics 365 customers are embracing it and bringing it into their workflow and adopting the inline experience inside Dynamics 365 sales. But we're also really unlocking value for a lot of customers who are running other CRM systems, but have been using Office for so many years. It's a product, the Office suite's been around for 40 plus years. So a lot of customers around the planet adopting and embracing it through their productivity tools, using Copilot for Sales, as well as using it inside Dynamics 365 as part of that workflow as well.
So it's really meeting the user where he works, right? Giving the user the power of the AI in whatever he works.
100%, and I think that's important because we don't want to completely change the way people are working and what they're good at and their personality and how they're showing up for their customers. So we're trying to meet them where they're at in their particular tools that they know and love and use on a daily basis, but also enhance that core CRM system. I tend to tell myself that people don't really get out of bed in the morning excited to jump and use a CRM system. But if we can make that a better experience through those productivity tools by, going into Outlook, going into Teams, collaborating, chatting, doing things like that, and we can bring elements of CRM using generative AI where it matters the most, that's a much better experience. So that's really what we're targeting and what the holy grail for us is.
Awesome. So I think you were going to show us a little demonstration on how Copilot for Sales work in Outlook, right?
That's right. So what I thought I would first do here is really just kind of highlight the problem we're solving with Copilot for Sales, remembering we're talking about systems of productivity and surrounding the CRM system with productivity tools. But really the problem we're trying to solve is fill in that disconnect between the system of record, Dynamics 365, Salesforce, other CRMs in the future, and that connectivity when it comes to systems of productivity, Teams and Outlook and Word and others. And really, why we're trying to do that is that we know these systems are typically very disconnected. Sales folks, business development representatives, anybody who's really interfacing with a customer often has to duplicate effort, do double data entry, go to multiple systems to get the information they need. And really, what that equates to is quite a bit of time spent on administrative overhead, administrative tasks, and only 32% of the time spent on actual selling. So we're trying to reduce that administrative burden, that overhead, and get sellers focused on the customers in front of them using productivity tools of choice, using that generative AI while keeping that system of record up to date. And as I mentioned here, the solution to that really is Copilot for Sales. That piece of technology that sits in the middle across those productivity tools, real time connected to CRM. And what it's doing is giving you AI suggestions, insights, and empowerment around the recommendations, the actions, as well as keeping the CRM up to date and being able to enter data back into Dynamics or Salesforce dynamically and easily. But probably most importantly, keeping people in the flow of work using the applications they know and love. That's really is the key here. So the CRM comes along for the journey across those productivity tools, and we use Copilot for Sales to do everything else in the middle. So let's take a little look at Outlook in action. So I'm going to show you an Outlook screen right now, and I'll just take you through the basics of how this works. But case in point here is I'm a busy development representative. I have lots of emails with my clients going on, and I have an email here that's come in regarding a network expansion opportunity, just a fictional scenario. I'm going to open up Copilot for Sales, and I'm going to pin that to the right-hand side of my screen. And basically, that's where it's going to live and breathe from this point onwards. And what's important about that is obviously as I move around my mailbox and I interact with different emails from different clients, Copilot for Sales is really going to follow me and stay up to date as we navigate around the mailbox. So obviously I can do things like I'm going to take a copy of the email and save it to my CRM system, in this case Salesforce. Can include the attachments as well, so we're not leaving anything behind. I can look at things like my most recent communication. So think about, maybe I received an email from a client, then subsequent emails come in and I get behind. I can always recap and summarize the most recent communication, so I always have the latest and greatest to work with. And that flows into what you're seeing on screen right now, key email info. Now, what that's doing is boiling down this very large multi-threaded email with multiple stakeholders down to salient points. So I have, information about what do I need to do? What are the actions? What is the ask from the client? And it starts to delineate between the things that I need to do, schedule a meeting, follow up with the proposal. And of course, I can use that information. I can save it to the CRM system and take care of all of that kind of good stuff that I need to do with that email summary info. You saw there that I hovered over the bubbles. Everything is grounded, so I know where I'm sourcing that information from. So we're not hallucinating. We're drawing that from Office Graph in Office Suite. We're drawing it from our CRM system, and we're using Azure OpenAI to pull that response together. As I said, I can save that response to my CRM system, and I can also go ahead and reply to that email. Drafting an email has been around a little while now. But what's great about this is that, one, I can go completely bespoke, use my own prompts, create my own prompts, and it's going to look inside my CRM system. It's going to look inside Graph. It's going to use OpenAI, and it can actually get pretty advanced in creating proposals and using information from your CRM system and turning it into a really nicely formatted email response. Again, with the idea that I'm being more productive and saving time, sparking that creativity in replying to emails and getting that done quick. And of course, you can change the length, the style. You can even look at calendar to see availability when you're doing these as well. Onboarding new clients is another big piece here as well. If I just pause that, multiple stakeholders on the email. In this case, I've got a new contact from Abby Moss. I don't have a relationship with Abby, but she is important to this decision. What you saw there is I could quickly add Abby to Salesforce, 2 clicks. It's going to pull information out of the CRM, out of the email, and push that into the CRM system for me. And we have a lot of information and enhancements coming around that. But the idea is keeping contacts and data hygiene in that CRM system at the forefront. So we're not leaving anything behind, and we're in the future keeping it up to date as we go. Which is great for forecasting, downstream reporting, and ultimately the understanding of your client that you've got correct and accurate information. So we've got our list of contacts there, and if I dig into Scott, who's my existing contact, lots of great information. I have some private notes about him that I can capture just for me as a seller to reference as I need them. I have contact information from different sources that we can look at. So great integration with People AI to enhance our models and get additional insights around the relationship. And you can see there, hey, I've got referenceable contacts and colleagues I can dig into. And of course, if I have permission to do so, I can go ahead and make edits and updates directly from here as well. We have a LinkedIn linked accounts, we have cases, we have all our activity information. And we can even tap into third-party systems as well. This is new, and we'll dig into this a little bit later on. Here's an example, KYC. I have a KYC process with my back office that needs to approve this account, maybe whether they're going to allow credit for them to make a purchase. I have information about that KYC that's taken place outside of this system, outside of my CRM, but I can snapshot that using Copilot Studio and bring that in as part of my workflow. So single pane of glass, key information about my KYC and my customer and what we're selling, all within one pane inside Copilot for Sales. So I've got that there as well. Got my account information. All of that is editable as we go. And then we've also got opportunity information as well, which is really the core to this. Great information and background around the opportunity value, the close date, more information about that KYC process happening, and of course, information about the opportunity itself and any other sort of contract information we need. Goes without saying, I can create new records from here if I wish, and you can control which is editable and creatable. And I can search for any information as well. So if I want to look for other related opportunities or accounts that I belong to, I can do that directly from the screen too. So this really packs a punch. Ton of information, ton of capabilities, a lot of suggested actions, insights that are happening directly within Outlook, real-time connected to your CRM system.
Okay, great. And something I hear a lot, like, in Dynamics 365, we do have our own add-in, Outlook add-in. I know Salesforce do as well. What will you say is the biggest differentiator? So why as a customer should I go for Copilot for Sales versus using my existing add-in?
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, we run into other add-ins that work with CRM systems. Add-ins for CRM have been around for a long time. I think the difference in where we're turning the corner with this particular piece is that you're not just tethered to Outlook. So this experience is going to follow you when you'll see shortly when we go into Teams, when we go into Word. We have other experiences coming up in OneNote as well. So we're actually adding multiple different Office applications to the picture here that doesn't matter where I'm working, I'm going to be able to access this kind of information to help me make good decisions. I think the other reason too is that this is built by Microsoft on Microsoft. So this natively blends into your existing apps. It's that same kind of Office fabric that you know and love and are used to. Because it's all part of our platform, it just works a little bit more seamlessly than sort of adding on additional bolt-ons that aren't produced by the Microsoft team, is what I'd say there. There's other things as well. Obviously, we're at the forefront when it comes to generative AI with our partnership with OpenAI and what we're doing there. But I think it's also fair to say that this is a new category and way of working. So we're really innovating fast. We're listening to customers when we're trying to make this the best we can be. So there isn't a precedent in this space either. So I think to sum that up, Sam, it's really put your faith in us that, hey, we've got your back on this. We're listening and we're advancing and innovating very, very quickly in this space as well. And it's kind of amazing. So for the folks listening that have been around Dynamics for a long time, if you go back, I've been doing this for 20 years. It used to be kind of a once a year roll up that you would apply. Very, very long feedback cycle. And then now Dynamics is twice a year, wave one and wave two. This product, Copilot for Sales, is every month. So you just think about that. So we can get feedback literally, 1 to 2 months out, implement that in the product, test it, release it very, very quickly. It's more akin to the Office 365, M365 release cadence, because this is really part of the Office suite. So just wanted to make sure I understand that not a very long lead or a wait time for new capabilities and enhancements. We're innovating extremely fast on a monthly basis. Yeah.
So you mentioned it's also integrated into Word and Teams. Oh, I think you were going to show us a bit. How does it look like?
Yeah, so let's switch over and take a look at our Word integration and take you through this. So just a bit of a preface, this is a fairly new space for us, but what we're doing is actively working on different templates and different iterations of, where it makes sense with Word to be able to prepare summaries and prepare content. But let me give you a sense of how this one works. So I come into Word, looks pretty normal. I have my little Copilot icon, and the way this works is I open Copilot, and knowing that I'm going to go and meet with a client, I want to understand what is happening in that account. What is the opportunity we're about to discuss? Who's accepting my meeting? What is the agenda? So, back in the day when I used to build these types of reports as part of my consulting days, I'd have to build a lot of this through SSRS and create those call prep reports, tear sheet type reports. Not anymore. I tell Copilot what I'm looking for. So I want to prepare a meeting preparation document based on a calendar invite that I have connected to an opportunity I want to discuss. And you can see what this is doing is going into Salesforce, looking at my calendar, looking at Graph inside Microsoft, and it starts to pull all of this information down. So I'm going to meet with Quantum Connect. We've got the meeting on the calendar, my RSVPs, the overview of the opportunity, what we're going to discuss. This is a demo environment, but in a real situation, if you've had prior meetings, prior cases, emails, chats exchanged, all of that would feed into this template. And of course, I let that run, it plays out, and I save it, and that now becomes my swivel chair. So I can distribute this with the team internally, I can share it on Teams, I can put it in the briefcase if I need to, but I have my meeting preparation done for me in a matter of seconds, which is huge, huge. Where we want to go next with this.
It's crazy. Yeah.
It is crazy. Yeah, it's unbelievable. This used to be a pretty complex report you'd have to write, and this is a pretty neat piece of technology and a great use case of AI. It's very, very popular. It's landing well using this. Where we want to go next, and we know, is RFP responses, RFP, RFI, producing responses and actually laying that out into a Word template. We're still actively working on it. It's, we've been talking about it for a while. We're still building it, but that is going to be something that's going to come next when it comes to Word.
Another functionality I'm really excited about from Copilot for Sales is the integration with Microsoft Teams. If you ask me, my favorite functionality from Microsoft 365 Copilot is the integration with Teams, because I can literally ask any questions regarding a previous meeting. And since I have a really short attention span, this functionality is really, really useful for myself, or to keep up of where we're going with a specific project or with a specific customer. So how does it look with Copilot for Sales? Because it adds layers to what is already awesome, I think, in Microsoft 365 Copilot.
100%, yeah, and I can relate to that. I miss most of the meetings I'm supposed to turn up to, and unfortunately, we're all busy, right? What you'll see shortly is I can capture the recap. I know when I've been mentioned. I know what's expected of me, and we hold sellers accountable by closing the loop to say, hey, the customer's expecting this, and making sure everything that comes out of Teams is actionable as well. So we'll dig into that in a moment. But yeah, to your point, this is Teams in itself is a fantastic product. What we're doing is layering on Copilot for Sales. So when I'm talking to a client, I have competitive analysis. I have access to the sales records inside my CRM system. And then, of course, as I mentioned, being able to take all of the actions, the insights, and the next steps that come out of these kind of complex virtual meetings and make them actionable across your system. So let me show you a little bit about what's happening with Teams. So example I'm showing you is, typically where a Teams meeting starts, as I met with a client, I've got them on Teams. In this case, it's myself and a gentleman named Scott again. I'm going to record and transcribe the meetings. There is a requirement for what you're about to see next to record and transcribe. There's some nuances around that piece, but obviously you'll see the output that comes out is much better from a recording and transcription standpoint once that's triggered. But typical Teams call, right? We're chatting away. I've got my recording and transcription running, and you can see that I clicked on my Copilot for Sales icon up the top of my screen. So it is following me literally through my productivity tools, and I'm connected to an opportunity that we're going to discuss on the sales meeting. So I can go in, I can make edits to that opportunity, I can make my updates. Maybe I'm challenging the customer as I'm talking. I can get my latest budget, estimated close date, sales stage, plug all those in real time while I'm talking to them and asking my line of questioning. That's the first part. Where this actually gets really, really interesting is the call advances. You can see some things happening here. So, this is a fictional example. HP, I love HP. They're one of my favorite customers. If this particular client starts mentioning Hewlett Packard and how much he loves them and he's got some great devices from them, in this scenario, HP is a competitor. So what we did is we popped up HP. We pulled out a little bit of a blurb around HP and their product offering, so I can use that as part of my talk track to counter the conversation, perhaps pivot it in a different direction. And as you'll see, so on and so forth, the competitors come up, and we can be looking at your competitor list inside your CRM system as well to drive this. But actually, this is running automatically based on just literally what we're saying, picking up those cues in my voice around those competitors and prompting me with talking points around competitors. Super, super cool. The next direction we're headed with this is I mentioned BANT analysis. So we're going to have BANT analysis happening inside Outlook, looking at the timing and the compelling events when it comes to qualifying an opportunity. We're also looking at having BANT analysis running here as well. So when we're talking about the timing and the budget and the estimated value, giving the seller tips and tricks as they're talking around those attributes as well. So the next part is when I get off that call, what do I do next? Obviously, great conversation, a lot of information came out of that call. Hopefully, we're closer to landing a new piece of business. So I'm going to show you what happens inside Teams for the recap of that conversation. So this is a real example here, and I'm protecting the innocent because this is a real call. But an example where we had a conversation around some energy scenarios, and you can see Teams does a great job. We've got the speakers, we've got the topics, we've got the chapters. Everything's broken down by sentiment analysis as well, so I can go back and track how people are doing and actually whether they're participating, and we'll talk about that more in a moment. But the beautiful things Teams does is, hey, we've got now all our AI-driven notes. So for me as a seller, I was eyes up, focused on the conversation with my client while I let Teams capture my digital notes for me. So I didn't have to be off the side of my desk in my notebook working in OneNote. I let Teams do that for me, which is a huge time saver. That's a huge benefit because I'm more engaged in what I'm doing. So I've got all the notes that we can use there. We've got the follow-up tasks. But where Copilot for Sales sneaks in is that we have an additional tab as a licensed user, and this breaks things down in the context of the deal, the opportunity we're discussing. So I have some follow-up tasks that came in this call. Lots of questions, lots of different pieces that were raised. And then I have some participant statistics, which is really interesting as well. So if you're thinking about a sales organization, am I speaking too fast, too slow? Am I switching too much, pausing too much? So these participant statistics in aggregate roll into a dashboard so we can start to look at, hey, how are my sellers doing? How are they performing? What are the keywords, the mentions, the competitors that keep coming up? And we can use that in aggregate to help us make some decisions as an organization around how we're actually doing on these types of virtual meetings. So, but that's individual participant statistics. We've got lots of keywords, we've got lots of different topics and teams and things that have come up. All of those are reportable. And of course, as I mentioned, I can go ahead and create a task directly in my CRM system. And this one here is an example. I'm going to connect it to a fake account just for demo purposes. But Cody, in this case, is assigned a task that will flow through to his Outlook, and he's notified that, hey, we're expecting you to follow up and do something. So we're really effectively closing that loop. And of course, everything that I've done here is in summarizable form. I can package this up as a summary of that meeting. I can put that in my CRM system. I can also package it up and distribute it on email as well. So we're socializing the notes internally and externally to the client. Very, very powerful.
So if I can ask, what's the main differentiator when you look at Microsoft 365 Copilot in Teams and the layer that's added to sales so far for our audience? When so let's say I already have Microsoft 365 Copilot, which do a part of this summarization and the taking, etc. What's exactly the layer that Copilot for Sales is adding to that?
Yeah, great question. So M365 Copilot in Teams by itself, amazing tool, amazing product. The difference here is that there's a dotted line down the middle where me as a role-based seller using a CRM system, I need an additional data point. I need additional information from that CRM system infused into this. So M365 Copilot by itself has no understanding or concept of CRM. Copilot for Sales on top of M365 Copilot is the surface layer that has understanding and reasoning across my CRM system. So when you put the two together, I have this new role-based experience inside Teams and Outlook and so on, and I have access to all of that key CRM information. So the activities, the opportunities, the products and price lists, what's happening with the account and the relationship. It's those additional data points and layers that really make the difference on top of the M365 experience, if you will.
Got it. So it add the context needed for the Copilot to understand what I'm doing, right? Day to day with my which customer and how do I interact with them. Which okay, this is pretty cool. Awesome. So thanks a lot for those demos. Now, how customizable or extensible is it? I know that earlier when you demonstrate Copilot for Sales and Outlook, you mentioned that now we can integrate with other third-party systems. So, what's the limit of it? How can I extend Copilot for Sales?
Absolutely. So that's a big part of the story. Meeting with customers over the last couple of years, and this technology has really been able to tap in and extend not only the core sort of CRM aspects of Copilot for Sales, but also extend into other systems. So think of different databases, knowledge sources. Maybe it's sales and marketing information that lives outside of core CRM. Maybe it's ERP, financial transactional type systems. So what we've done is we have an inline settings experience. So for our Dynamics and Salesforce customers, you can bring in your tables, your objects, your views, your fields, and layout, and all of that kind of good stuff around the forms and the views and how you actually interact with Copilot for Sales is all part of the out-of-the-box settings and toolkit that exists behind Copilot for Sales. It's very, very simple to use, very, very easy to set up, very much a turnkey type solution. What we announced back in May is at Microsoft Build is our integration with Copilot for Sales and Copilot Studio. So this really takes it to the next level where I can come into Copilot Studio and natively I see Copilot for Sales in my environment where I've deployed Copilot for Sales. And I now have the ability to connect to basically thousands of different connectors that exist within our Power Platform system. So all of the main players within Microsoft, the players outside of Microsoft, we have connectors to. The role of that you would play as implementing this is obviously we don't understand the context of how you're using your data with your CRM, but we allow you to come in and add actions. So we have some existing ones around DocuSign and Pros. There might be a few others in here as well. But if you say wanted to example, you had a custom connector on Power Platform for an application or a database or something that you were working with, you could connect to that, create your own custom AI actions, and that's what you saw popping up inside the demo I did through Outlook. Furthermore, and really this is more of a directionally where we're headed, is all those additional connectors to be able to connect with typical actions that you would take in those types of systems. So maybe pulling down records, creating new records, things like that across different systems, being able to access that information using Copilot Studio and add those into Copilot for Sales. So long answer, Sam, but yeah, we have that very powerful extensibility layer that's included with Copilot for Sales, and it's really around Copilot Studio.
This is actually will change the way I think people are seeing and using Copilot for Sales. So basically, I'm not limited, right, to connect to a system of record from Microsoft, right? If I do have SAP or if I have an Excel spreadsheet sitting somewhere, I can connect to it and add it as a context to my Copilot so it can provide the proper information, right?
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of our customers are already familiar with Power Platform. Um, Copilot for Sales has a Power Platform element to it with a Dataverse. And by virtue of having that, you have some Power Platform capabilities. So if you haven't taken a look at Power Platform, we have literally thousands of connectors sitting in this. Not all of them are available with Copilot for Sales just yet. As I said, we only announced in May, and so we're probably about 3 months in now, so a lot of them are coming online. But yeah, not only Microsoft connected solutions, but external solutions as well. Your Oracles, your SAPs, and things like that are all in here, as well as a lot of other point solutions, smaller and larger as well. If you don't have a connector, you can go ahead and create a connector. We have multiple different ways of connecting to data, as long as you have a little bit of technical know-how and you can access those endpoints of your systems. First party connector or custom connectors will do the job as well. But this is an extremely important part of the story because that extensibility is really going to open up additional data sources so we can correlate information happening outside of core CRM with the information happening in CRM and bring it all together to give you that truer picture of your client and the business you're doing with them.
Is this available today?
It is. Yeah, yep. So Copilot for Sales connectivity to Copilot Studio was announced in May. Up until recently, we've just focused on custom connectors. So depending on when you're watching this, a lot of these other connectors will be coming online as well. So you can come in, pick a connector, use out-of-the-box actions, create your own actions, publish those, and start consuming them through Copilot for Sales and service and other applications as well. We're not just stopping with sales. This is really going to be the framework for all of our Copilot extensibility.
That's great. So thanks a lot for the demo. I think we covered pretty much all of what Copilot for Sales add to the Microsoft 365 suite, right? I think it's adding a lot of value, right? Pulling data from all your Microsoft ecosystem and from all the tools or a business application you're using daily. So thanks a lot for that. Now, our time together is almost at the end, but I like to know, how do you see the role of AI evolving in sales tools over the next few years or maybe even few months? Because again, it's evolving lightning fast.
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm very passionate about this as well, and it's certainly vocal when I'm talking to my extended teams around what I'd love to see. Couple of really big themes is more around proactive insights, and what I mean by that is proactive next best actions, proactive suggested actions. So, as a seller, not going in and just summarizing and kind of recapping what I've already done. That's super helpful. I think we're really established there, but truly giving me AI generative insights around, hey, you need to call this person. Hey, something is amiss over here, or maybe someone's changed jobs, and giving you these proactive suggestions with context using Gen AI to really elevate proactively what I should do, almost in an autonomous way. I think we'll see some of that. The other part that I'm really excited about is LinkedIn. Microsoft owns the world's largest professional social network with LinkedIn, and we're going to see a lot more use cases and interoperability with LinkedIn coming into the sales experience. So that's important for a few reasons. One is that prospecting and that research and understanding. We want to bring that to where people are working to have that access to information. But it's also important just to be able to understand, if someone moves roles or gets a promotion or changes jobs or has an icebreaker for an additional lead that you're working on. Having all of that at your fingertips is super helpful, and it should be there, and I can't wait for it to be there. So watch the space. You're going to see a lot more from the LinkedIn side of things.
Awesome. So I suppose if I'm a user of the M365 suite right now and I'm in sales, I totally want to try Copilot for Sales. Where do I go if I want to try it out? How does it work?
Yeah, absolutely. So existing customers, you obviously talk to your Microsoft rep, and they will be able to tee you up to get a trial to try some of this out. We are going to have, depending on when you're watching this, we are going to have opt-in free trials coming in. We're recording this in August. It's going to be around the August timeframe that you'll be able to opt in, try a free trial. You can easily find that online through your M365 portal. to try it, or again, reach out to your Microsoft rep and they'll be more than happy to help you. Try it out. Try and get that business value that this can provide. It's great technology and there's a lot of sizzle here, but it actually does provide a tremendous amount of business value as well around this. And certainly we can talk some of the KPIs and success criteria around those business value as well. Please talk to your Microsoft rep, and more than happy to engage and have a conversation.
Awesome. So thanks a lot for taking the time to meet today. I know you're really busy driving into all those conversations with our Microsoft customers. So thanks a lot for taking the time. I hope I'll see you again, maybe for a next episode on Copilot in sales.
Yeah, I'd love that. It's my pleasure. Hopefully you can see I'm very passionate about this topic. I do truly love it. I love talking about it. Let's talk soon about Copilot inside Dynamics. Lots of exciting stuff happening there as well. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Take care.
Thank you.